Hey guys, TB here, and no, it's been a quick minute since I've posted a video, so I apologize for the lag. I think the last one I put up was the Stalingrad, so it's kind of funny that we're following that up a few weeks later with another Tier 10 premium cruiser, but here we are. So today we're going to take a quick look at the Yoshino, the Tier 10 Japanese super cruiser. It's going to be out here in, well, by the time I get this uploaded to YouTube, probably a couple of hours. It's going to be the noon reset on the North America server. So, I mean, we're going to take a quick run through the stats, but I'm basically just going to show you guys kind of how I've got it set up, what the numbers look like with the camo and the equipment I've got on it, because if anybody wants to see the base stats, they're going to be available shortly for you to see. They're also uploaded on the wiki, which I will try to put a link below to the Yoshino's wiki page so you can see that there. So base stats are there. It's easy to. They're not going to be hidden much longer. So I thought I'd go through Captain Build for you guys, show you the historical camo and what it buffs, and elite bonuses. Some of the things that you can't really see by looking in the crate. Which, by the way, this is coming in a crate. Again, no real shocker there for a Tier 10 or Tier 9. That's pretty much what they've been doing. I think a couple of Tier 9s went into the shipyard, but otherwise the Tier 10s, the three of them that have come out so far, have all been crates, so no big shockers there. We keep buying crates, Wargaming keeps putting boats in them. So if you guys are like me and don't like the crates, stop buying them. I know I'm trying really hard to stop buying the crates myself. This is my only vice, okay? I don't drink, I don't smoke. I spend unnecessary money playing video games. So anyways, you guys aren't here to listen to that. Let's jump into the boat. So stats: 44,286 hit points, 12.5% citadel damage, 10% fire and flooding, 9% damage, 12% torpedo damage. It is a cruiser. It does not like getting shot at. Doesn't matter if it's a super heavy or not. 33.2 knots, 21 seconds to full speed. So the traverse speed here is a little bit better than stock, because you can see I'm running double rudder, and I do really recommend running double rudder. We'll get into that in a little bit. Guns, 310, 3x3. So to call it a Tier 10 Azuma would not be totally incorrect. There are definitely some parallels between the two. It's definitely better than the Tier 9 Azuma, but it's still pretty close. So 12.6 second reload time, 13.5 kilometer range, a little over 1,000 HE damage, 10% fire chance, which is nice. 1271 on the AP. Does get the 250% citadel rate, and turret traverse is 6.42. Now we'll see on the elite equipment. I'm running elite gun operator, so that's helping that. They're slow. Just be aware. No manual secondaries. You do get auto secondaries. You get 4 per side, 4x2, 100 millimeter. So it's basically like having an Akizuki strapped to each side of the boat, but with crap range. 6 second reload time is really long for those, and then the 4 kilometer range, that's with the secondary range buffed with the slot 1 equipment, and we'll jump into that in a second as well. Torpedo tubes, so you don't get the 2x5 on each side like the Zao gets. You do get 2x4. Reload time's not bad, a little over a minute. 4,400 damage is solid, 9 kilometer range. I think the historical camo does buff that a little bit, because I think it was 8 something stock, but almost 70 knots, 21% fire flood chance, and 18 degrees per second. Traverse is a little slow compared to some others, but I mean, it's not bad there. The angles I'm not crazy about. I know I was talking about it with some of my fleet mates, and they said I was crazy. Maybe I'm spoiled. I don't know. But the torp angles are definitely favoring the rear of the boat, so they're going to be handy when kiting. But if you're bow tanking somebody and they're starting to flank and you want to get torpedoes into them, you've got to show a lot of broadside before you can get those torpedoes away anything in front of you. So, yeah, I'm not crazy about them. I don't know, maybe I'm spoiled. So, anti-aircraft damage is very solid, 348 for both large and small. The range here is buffed with that equipment in slot 1. Again, we'll look at that in a second. No defensive AA, but even without that, I mean, the AA is solid. There was more than a couple of games yesterday when I was playing it yesterday where I was getting focused by the CV and I was shooting down, 15 to 18 planes. With that focus, I didn't get a lot else done those games, but the AA is competent. I'm not going to say it's great, but it's competent, which is unusual for a Japanese cruiser, as many of you who have played Japanese cruisers for any number of games will know. Surface detection 10.37 kilometers. So, let's really take a look at the elite options. So you do have torpedo defense systems. You can buff your torpedo defense by 10%. I think it was only 10% to begin with. 12, so you'd add another 1.2, so you'd be at 13.2. Honestly, I don't really think that's worth it myself. I would take elite gun operator, definitely. You're going to trim a tiny bit, but you're going to trim a little off your reload, and then you're going to buff the turret traverse speed, which it definitely needs. I know that running it with this yesterday with the rapid reload running, I think my reload was down to like 9 seconds. That's not too bad. Historical camo, so main battery firing range, torpedo range, traverse speed, which it definitely needs, a little buff to the surface detection, and then silver and XP as usual. Skills, so they're all level 1. Precise aim you get 3, rapid reload you get 2, sonar you get 2. So what's nice is, like the Azuma, it does have precise aim and rapid reload, so you get 1 each extra of those with your captain skill. And it does have both, so it's kind of a win-win. I ran Yamamoto. He's not exactly set up the way I would have him on my Yamato on my personal account, but pretty close. On Yamato, I think the level 10 skill, I would probably have taken compartment maintenance to reduce the flooding damage. I think might be the only skill I would have different if I had, have Yamamoto on my Yamato, which is where I think he's best suited. And I almost think it would be worth the retrain, the gold to retrain him to give him Master Reloader instead, especially if you also have Azuma, because then you can have Yamamoto on Yamato and Yoshino and Azuma. And you're going to really give an extra buff with Master Reloader to the 2 cruisers, and you're going to lose a little bit of flooding damage when he's back on Yamato, and you're not going to be able to take advantage of Master Reloader. But honestly, I personally think it's worth it. That's the way I would run it. Otherwise, as you can see, improved Citadel Strike was always nice. Improved AP. Improved Demolition Expert. Did take the extra Marksman just to give me that extra time and the extra cooldown, since you do now with this get 4 precise aims. Sixth Sense is always nice to know when you're getting focused, although usually it's pretty evident regardless. So yeah, Captain build, nothing too unsuspecting there. And honestly, even if it was not Yamamoto, if it was just a regular Japanese captain, I'd probably still build him the same way. Yamamoto's nice because he does have so many extra perks that really do help with some of those things, but I think if it was a regular captain, this skill might be the only one I would change, because rather than taking the extra traverse speed, I'd probably take the damage control cooldown boost. But otherwise, captain build would be the same there. Equipment. So I did run. I played with the equipment a little bit yesterday. I started off with turret traverse, and with elite gun operator and the turret traverse, I think I got it up just a little over 7 degrees per second. So not a big difference on the turret traverse, and so I decided to switch that up. I did run main battery mod 3 for a few games with the dispersion buff. Honestly, it doesn't really need it. The accuracy is good. The precise aim helps. And so I actually ended up running with auxiliary armament modification 1, and I recommend doing that because you do get that little bit extra range on your auto secondaries, which are kind of crap. I think in the games I played yesterday, I think they only even lit off once, because otherwise I never got that close to somebody. The real reason I'm taking this is the extra AA range, because the AA is competent on this boat, and it's a tier 10 premium, and it's a Japanese cruiser, so the carriers are going to focus you generally because they think you're an easy target. I think having that extra range is really beneficial, and so I do recommend running this equipment in slot 1. I think it's going to be the most value and most benefit on this boat. Arguments can be made for any of the other ones that I talked about. It really is up to you guys, but this would be my recommendation. For slot 2, normally anybody who watches any of my other videos knows I like to run acceleration, because I like to be able to mess with the throttle and get as much responsiveness out of it as I can. And then I typically will run steering in slot 3. After having run a few games, I really think that running double steering is the way to go. It's going to make the boat a lot more maneuverable. It's still kind of sluggish because of how big it is and that the acceleration is garbage, but the double rudder is definitely, I think, the way to go. So that's my recommendation for equipment and kind of the logic behind it. Run whatever works for you. That's what I found worked best for me, and that's what I would recommend doing. So I think that's it for the overview and the setup. So I've got a couple games to show you guys, so let's jump into those. All right, so first off, happy to report that I finally figured out how to get the sound to record in the game again. I don't know what I did, but I did finally figure out, and so we should be hearing soon some of the in-game sounds that go along with this. So, anyways, I do have 2 games for you guys. Ignore that first salvo. That was better. So I trimmed a little bit off the front of the video just for time purposes, trying to save a little bit where we could when we could. But since we do have in-game audio again, I hope, try to narrate a little bit as we go and help you guys, but might not talk the whole way through the video. So on this map, if I spawn in the center there, I do try to push left, just to help defend this flank from getting pushed, since it's a mirror of the other side, and there's usually 3 boats that come over here to push down the flank. So I try to position myself to hold those guys off. That was a really disappointing salvo on the nose of the gearing. The next video you guys will see, I've actually got a much better AP salvo against the gearing at about the same range. So I don't know if it was the nose that I hit or what, but that was underwhelming. Those were all over pens. So really surprised. You can see I turned the camera angle a little bit there because I was trying to see if I was going to miss those torps or not. That was one of my better torpedo dodges. Still something I'm not all that great at myself, and predicting when they're going to be coming and when to maneuver is something that I'm constantly working on. But at this point in the battle, I knew that we kind of needed to start pushing. We have having one boat advantage, but I also knew that Kurfürst was back there and that he was going to eat me up if I pushed on him myself. Thankfully, we had a very handy, friendly Montana come over this way, so I decided to go ahead and tuck in behind him and let him tank for me, while I just popped a rapid reload and started spamming shots at the Kurfürst right over him. So this was Not one of my first games, but one where I still hadn't had very many good encounters like this with strong battleships, and so I was still trying to get a feel for which ammo was going to be most effective. So you can see I'm prepped there, and after firing, I did switch over to HE to see how that would do, because getting a lot of I'm not getting very many bounces, which is good, but I'm not getting very many full pens, and I know, Curvers is a very tough ship to damage with cruiser guns, even big cruiser guns like this. So I figured we'd try a couple salvos of the HE, and ultimately, I don't know, I kind of think we were better off with the AP, personally. But we are going to keep pecking away at him, and since he turned to run, I didn't want to keep heading like that Montana is straight for the island, because I knew I was going to get stuck. So backed off, made that hard turn, and finally secured the kill on the Kurfürst. And now we've got the San Luis. And I remember Lost telling me at this point, he says they're made of citadels, hit them. So we did. So, should put him down 2. 2 is all it took. And then I did switch to the HE for the Montana, and I don't know, in hindsight, I think I'd have been better off with the AP, but again, this was one of the first battles where I'd really gotten some good opportunities to just get shots on battleships without them focusing the crap out of me, and so I was still kind of playing and adjusting and seeing which ammo was going to be most effective. And I don't know, I still think the AP on the Yoshino was the better choice. I think that he would have died sooner, although that's a nice fire. I think he would have died sooner if at this point, after this salvo, I should have switched to AP. So, a couple more fires. Got shells incoming, but it looks like he missed. Anyways, that was the end of that one. There wasn't a whole lot there to get excited about. The rest of the battle was pretty uneventful. So, and I should have trimmed this one. Hey, get what you pay for, right? So this one, I remember now that Lost is running his Worcester, because we were getting tired of getting focused by the carriers. So he jumped in Worcester, and we got lucky and spawned on the same side. And sure enough, carrier came straight at me right from the get. So we were trying to get closer together so we could overlap our AA, and yeah, I took all 4 of those. So, like I said, the steering struggles on this boat a little bit. But gonna stick closer to him, and that way, if they come back again, we can hopefully cover ourselves a little bit better. There is a bot over here. And normally I don't like to show replays with bots, but in this case it was just one of them, and the game was otherwise pretty good, so I figured I would go ahead and leave it in anyways. Decent AP salvo. Like most of the super cruisers, really what these boats are good at is killing other cruisers. The AP pen, because they've got the bigger 310 millimeter guns. The AP really does well against other cruisers. And as this bot is about to find out, Fortunately, those torpedoes missed because he did turn. I didn't really think I was going to get anything with them, but, you know, doesn't hurt to try. And I think this was, in all the games I played, I think this was the only encounter was with this Zao where I really got any secondary hits. Again, kind of throwing those torpedoes out there, not expecting to get much, but never hurts to try. And it was at this point that the bot picked up the Chung Mu's torpedoes that he had fired, and he turned back into mine. So nothing ventured, nothing gained, and in this case, it kind of worked out. That Chung Mu was a bit frustrating, though, so I don't know, Mr. Mu Driver, if you're watching this video or not, but you flanked really hard. You didn't kill the Zao. And if I remember right, after this, you're going to push and start carrier chasing, and you're not going to do it very effectively. So, I don't know. It's hard to say because every game is so different and so situational, but I don't feel like you flanking as hard as you did was really the best use of your boat in this match. Come to think of it, I think I've got the wrong battle on here. Ah, shit. Oh well. We're here now. So that Stalingrad's almost dead, so I did start positioning just to put some pressure on that carrier. I did want some more plane kills as well. Just still trying to get a good feel for the AA. Stalingrad's down. Venezia is still in range. And so at this point I figured, you know, that Chung Mu's there. Yeah, I was kind of heading towards the carrier to put some pressure on him, but the Chung Mu's there. He'll handle the carrier. Not worth my time going back there. Because if I go back there any closer, I'm going to be out of position to do anything else the rest of the battle. So I started to turn back towards the middle of the map and to put some pressure on the Venezia, at which point the Chung Mu, well, I don't know what he was doing. And there, our carrier died. So the one thing Chung Mu is doing is keeping the carrier off of the rest of us. So I got to give him a little bit of credit for that. Anytime you can put a Venom down, it's a good thing. So I was going after that Venezia, and I remember asking Lost, where'd he go? Because I came around the island, and I had popped my sonar because I half expected him to be sitting here ready to torp me. But that's not what he did, surprisingly. So, come on, where's the sonar? Use your sonar, man. There we go. Like I said, I half expected him to be sitting there waiting for me. That's what I would have done. But nope, he's up there. And we've actually gotten him down to now where it's just the carrier and this Venezia. And our Chung Mu apparently decided that he didn't want to play anymore. And I guess he went AFK because he just sat there and completely let the Venezia slap him. And then for some reason, I'm assuming to try to get torps away, the Venezia made a hard turn, showing his broadside to a cruiser killer. Now he's popping smoke and turning back to the left again. So yeah, he's definitely got torps coming my way. There's one rack. Got to keep maneuvering. Unfortunately, we're down to our last 10 seconds. I mean, I got enough health I can take the torps from the carrier. And we finish with the Citadel. Very nice. Alright, So one more quick one, mostly because I finished up recording the audio for the last part, went back and looked and realized that that was the clip that I meant to show you guys. So I didn't screw up after all. Yay me. And I wanted to, I tacked this one on. I know the video's starting to run a little bit long, and I apologize. Thank you for sticking it out if you're still here. But this game kind of shows the AA a little bit better than any of the other two games. So I wanted to go ahead and show that because I know there were some people who were asking about the AA capabilities on the Yoshino. We looked at the stats, thought we should see them in practice. So this was one of the earlier games that I played. I was still definitely getting a feel for it. It was one of my better early games in it because this boat does kind of take, there is a little bit of a learning curve. It's not generally going to be your best frontline boat. It doesn't really like that spot, but it doesn't really want to sit way in the back either. You kind of got to find a middle range, and I didn't intend to, but I kind of ended up flanking. I basically just went to C-cap and didn't find any reds, so pushed around the backside and ran face first into their carrier. And if I'm in range of a carrier, I'm going to shoot at it. So, although I did see this Montana was low and wanted to try to make sure we got him out of the fight as soon as possible to help the rest of the team. So we diverted to putting a salvo into him, and then couldn't even secure that kill. Apparently I haven't been learning hard enough from Lost. So speaking of which, while we're on that, thank you again, Lost, who many of you will know is a frequent contributor on these videos because he's probably the single most guy I've played the most games with, and who I have to communicate the least with in order to be effective. So and then FBI joined us this time from AU here on the North America server. So FBI, thanks for the games, man. Appreciate the support. So with that last raid, and here comes some more Torp bombers. You can see we're at 11. That makes 12, 13. I was only running the single rudder at this point, and so the maneuverability is not really what I would have hoped it would have been. And so running the double rudder definitely was worth it, but still, it's sluggish, and if a competent carrier player comes after you, you're going to eat torpedoes. It's just the way it is. So looks like we're at 14. It's not bad. I'm going to get a couple more off of that fighter squadron there. So I don't. We're not going to watch this all the way to the end. I basically cut it at the point at which there really wasn't much else to see. Nothing else that I really contributed to the game. So I'm going to go ahead and take a quick second here and say thank you guys for watching. Thank you for the continued support. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you guys out there. Take it easy.